Your cat is looking at you right now the same way it looks at a wall. Not because it's stupid, not because it's distracted, but because neurologically, emotionally, evolutionarily, you and the wall are in roughly the same category. Present, ambient, neither threatening nor particularly necessary, and your cat is completely fine with that. The question is whether you are. We have built an entire mythology around cats. We put them in sweaters. We make them famous on the internet. We say things like, "My cat chose me," as if the relationship were a love story, as if somewhere in the warm architecture of a cat's mind, there is a room with your name on it. There isn't. Or if there is, the door is almost always locked, and the cat has the only key, and it will not be opening it on your schedule. This is not cruelty. It is not coldness. It is something more precise than either of those things. It is indifference. And indifference, in the right animal, is one of the most successful survival strategies in the history of life on Earth. To understand what a cat actually is, you have to go back roughly 10,000 years to the Fertile Crescent, the stretch of land curving through what is now Iraq and Syria and Egypt, where humans first began to store grain. Stored grain attracts rodents. Rodents attract the animals that eat rodents. And one of those animals, small and fast and ferociously efficient, was Felis silvestris libica, the African wildcat, a creature barely distinguishable from the cats sitting on sofas today. Here is the critical difference between what happened to cats and what happened to dogs. The cats were never truly domesticated. They domesticated themselves. They made a unilateral business decision. The humans had rodents. The cats wanted the rodents. The transaction required no emotional component whatsoever. No one bred cats for tameness the way they slowly shaped dogs. No one selected for loyalty or attentiveness or the desire to please. The cats that moved toward human settlements were simply the ones willing to tolerate human proximity. And tolerance is not affection. It is the minimum viable relationship. It is the thing you extend to a neighbor whose parking you find mildly inconvenient, but whose presence doesn't yet require action. The cat moved in, and it never stopped being a wildcat. It just learned to do it indoors. In 2019, researchers at the University of Lincoln published a study examining whether cats show secure attachment to their owners, the same psychological bond that dogs form with humans, and that human infants form with their caregivers. The methodology was straightforward. They put cats in an unfamiliar room with their owner, then had the owner leave, then return. They watched what happened. Dogs in this situation show a clear pattern. They become distressed when the owner leaves, and visibly relieved when the owner returns. They orient toward the human as a safe base. The human, for a dog, is the emotional center of the room. The cats showed no such pattern. Their stress levels when the owner left were essentially the same as when a stranger left. They did not use their owner as a secure base. They explored the room independently, largely unbothered by who was or wasn't present. The researchers concluded that cats do not appear to rely on their owners for security or comfort in the way that dogs or human children do. When this study came out, the internet was briefly upset. Then everyone went home and fed their cats anyway, because that is the dynamic. The cat does not need your approval. You need the cat's, and the cat knows this. The cat has always known this. There's a moment in feline development that tells you almost everything. Wolf pups and dog pups have a socialization window that opens early and stays open for a significant stretch of their early life. During that window, they learn who they belong to, who is safe. The bond forms and calcifies into something durable. Kittens have a socialization window too, but it is shorter, sharper, and if a kitten does not have meaningful contact with humans during those first 2 to 7 weeks, it will remain effectively wild for the rest of its life. Not dangerous necessarily, but distant, unreachable. A creature for whom humans are simply large, slow-moving features of the environment. Even kittens who are socialized, who are handled and spoken to and held during that window, don't form the same category of bond that dogs do. What they form is something more conditional, more negotiable, an arrangement that can be revisited at any time, subject to terms the cat sets unilaterally. The window closes, but it closes around something smaller than love. It closes around preference, around a loose and revocable willingness to remain in proximity to you, as long as you continue to meet certain standards the cat has not disclosed and will not be explaining. And here is the part that should make you feel something because it makes me feel something. Cats are not withholding. They are not playing hard to get. They are not secretly desperate for your affection and simply too proud to show it. They are genuinely, structurally, neurologically different from us in the way they process social bonds. Dogs co-evolved with humans for 15,000 years. Their brains changed. The pathways oriented toward human faces and human voices and human approval grew deep and wide. The dog, in some fundamental sense, needs the relationship. Remove it, and something in the dog breaks. Cats did not co-evolve with us. They evolved alongside us, a different preposition, a crucial one. They observed, they benefited, they remained at their core solitary hunters for whom attachment was never a survival mechanism. You are not your cat's person. You are your cat's location. And yet, there are studies, smaller ones, quieter ones, less likely to make headlines, that show cats do form preferences, that they seek out specific humans over others, that some cats, in some circumstances, display something that looks, from the outside, very much like comfort seeking, like the early drafts of attachment. Cats in long-term homes often synchronize their sleep cycles to their owners. They learn the specific sound of your car. They appear sometimes at the door, not because they were trained to, but because something in them has registered your pattern, your rhythm, your particular way of moving through the world. Is that love? Science says, probably not in the way you mean it, but it is something. It is the slow accumulation of a preference for your specific presence over the absence of it, which is not love, but it is not nothing. It is the cat's version, and the cat's version was never going to look like yours. My cat does not greet me at the door. She does not follow me from room to room. When I am sad, she does not come to find me. But at some point, every evening, without announcement, she appears beside me. She does not ask to be acknowledged. She simply arrives in the way that weather arrives. Present, unconcerned with your feelings about its presence, governed entirely by its own internal logic. And she stays. Not because she needs to, not because 10,000 years of evolution wired her to seek my face when things are uncertain. She stays because, in whatever calculus her small and ancient mind is running, this particular spot, next to this particular person, is where she has decided to be. That is not the love I was taught to expect. It is not warm or demonstrative or reassuring in the ways I sometimes wish it were, but it is honest. Brutally, completely, almost unbearably honest. And on the nights when that feels like enough, when I stop wanting her to be something she was never built to be and simply let her be what she is, those are the nights it feels like the most real thing in the room.